Welcome to the D- Diaries, episode 29, Enshittification, How Everything Gets Worse Once They've Got You, by Jim Jones. We hope you enjoy this podcast while you drive, ride, roam, or drone. If you like what you hear, please like the heart button, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Have you ever wondered why it feels like you're being pickpocketed? Not robbed, not mugged, just slowly, quietly, and methodically relieved of your money one small piece at a time. A few dollars here, a subscription there, a convenience fee, a service fee, an update fee, a processing fee, a premium version, a monthly charge for something you already bought, and on and on. That expensive device you paid good money for suddenly no longer works the way it used to. Electronic devices and the systems that support them seem to change faster than anyone can keep up. You wake up one morning and a software update has changed everything you knew about using a device. Features moved, menus changed. Things that worked yesterday suddenly don't work today. Even reading has changed. The headline hooks you, but now you have to read 5 paragraphs before getting to the point. First comes the pop-up asking you to subscribe, then comes the video that starts playing by itself. Then comes the advertisement for something you searched for 3 weeks ago. By the time you get to the actual story, you've forgotten why you clicked on it in the first place. Most Americans can't quite put their finger on it, but many feel it every day. We buy products that don't seem to last as long. We pay more for services that seem to do less. Customer service has become harder to reach. Products are more difficult to repair. Software updates seem to create as many problems as they solve. Everywhere we turn, it feels like someone has their hand in our pocket. There is actually a word for this phenomenon. Technology writer Cory Doctorow coined the term Enshittification to describe what happens when products, services, and platforms begin by serving customers well, then gradually shift toward extracting as much value as possible from those customers. The word may be crude, but it may become one of the most important economic terms of our century. It perfectly captures a feeling millions of people recognize immediately. You don't need a degree in economics to understand it because you've lived it. The pattern is surprisingly simple. First, a company creates something useful. It solves a problem and customers love it. Then it gains market share and people become dependent upon it. Somewhere along the way, it builds a niche brand and either outcompetes, acquires, or marginalizes much of the competition. The need to be better slowly gives way to the comfort of being bigger. Like a drug dealer, once customers are hooked, the relationship begins to change. Prices rise, quality declines, features disappear, fees appear, customer service vanishes. The company starts optimizing not for customers but for revenue. The service gets worse while the profits get better. That is enshittification. We've all watched it happen. Streaming services started as an inexpensive alternative to cable television, and most of us cut the wire to cable. Today, many people subscribe to so many streaming services that they spend as much or more than they did with cable. Airlines once competed by offering service. Today, passengers are charged for checked bags, seat selection, early boarding, extra legroom, priority boarding, and sometimes for things that seem only one step away from charging for oxygen. Software companies once sold products. Today, many sell subscriptions. You never truly own the software. You rent access to it month after month and year after year. The place where I have seen it most clearly may be technology. When I was a kid, televisions were built to last. A television was not some disposable appliance. It was furniture and part of the family. It sat proudly in the living room and often remained there for 20 years. When it broke, you fixed it. Most televisions used vacuum tubes. If the picture disappeared, Dad would pull the back off the television, remove the suspected tube, and take it down to the hardware store. Many stores had tube testers right there in the aisle. You plugged the tube into the tester, identified the bad one, bought a replacement, took it home, and the television worked again. When cable television arrived, older televisions only handled 13 channels, no problem. You bought a converter box and suddenly your television could receive 50 channels. Wanted to watch a movie? You added a VCR. Later came cable boxes /DVRS, DVD/Blu-ray players, and a parade of new gadgets. Through all those changes, the television stayed. Then came the digital television conversion. I had a cabin in the mountains where I received 3 free channels with an antenna. The picture wasn't high definition, but it was good enough to watch the news or a ball game. Then the government auctioned portions of the broadcast spectrum, and television broadcasting shifted from analog to digital signals. For me, when those local channels made the switch, they effectively disappeared. The signal was no longer strong enough to decode properly in the mountains. The picture became a collection of frozen blocks and pixels. The only thing I gained was a weather channel. Coincidentally, satellite TV was up and running, convenient, but the mountains blocked my view of the satellite. In the mountains, these technological advancements were as useful as a screen door on a submarine. The television had not failed, the system around it had changed. Today we have 1080p, 4K, 8K, and even 16K televisions, and they are smarter than ever. They constantly update and connect to the internet. Yet it is now widely reported that some companies are doing more than simply delivering a picture. They track our viewing tastes, habits, and interests. The company we paid good money to for a television may also be collecting information about how we use it and monetizing that data. Whether that information ultimately ends up with advertisers, data brokers, corporations, government agencies through legal processes, or simply hackers, the result is the same. Information about our lives has become a valuable commodity. In perhaps the greatest example of enshittification, the thing you bought and continue to pay subscription fees for in order to consume content has quietly made you the most valuable content of all. That lesson followed me into the GPS age. Years ago, GPS units were expensive. Some cost well over $1,000. People purchased them expecting years of reliable navigation. Then came the subscriptions. I experienced it first with the GPS system built into my Jeep. The navigation hardware was already installed. I entered the activation code and everything worked perfectly. A year or two later, the notifications started appearing. If I wanted updated maps, I needed to pay, not once, every year. The GPS hardware was still there, the satellites were still in orbit, the screen still worked. Yet ownership had quietly transformed into a recurring bill. Last year, while working on this publication, I was printing out copies to read on paper. Suddenly, a pop-up appeared telling me I could no longer use my printer. Wait, what? I walked over to the printer and restarted it. Same message. A few minutes later, I received an email from Hewlett-Packard, better known as HP. It read, "We are still unable to process the automatic payment for your previous month of HP Instant Ink service. The account associated with this payment method has been closed. Please update your payment method to avoid a disruption in your HP Instant Ink service. If your payment method is not updated, you will lose the ability to print with HP Instant Ink subscription cartridges." I just sat there staring at the screen. I think I've owned that printer for about 5 years, and somehow I had forgotten that I not only paid for the printer itself, but I was also paying by the page through an ink subscription. HP automatically sent replacement cartridges whenever the old ones got low. Now I have 2 complete sets of ink sitting on the shelf, but the printer is still ringing the cash register 1 page at a time. The printer works, the ink works, the paper works. What doesn't work is the business model. Note to self, buy the next printer from a company that doesn't require a subscription to use something I already own. My first cell phone cost thousands of dollars. In the 1980s and 90s, it rode around in a carrying case and was about as portable as a cinder block. Airtime ran $40 to $100 plus per month and 25 to 75 cents per minute, sometimes more. It made phone calls and not much else. Today, my smartphone replaces dozens of devices that once filled an entire house, yet somehow I feel like I had more control over that old bag phone than I do over the supercomputer riding in my pocket. If you are over 20, you have probably gone through many generations of phones. Part of this technological explosion can be explained by Moore's Law. In 1965, engineer Gordon Moore observed that the number of transistors that could fit on a computer chip was roughly doubling every couple of years, while costs continued to fall. Computers became smaller, faster, cheaper, and more powerful at a pace rarely seen in human history. The smartphone in your pocket today has more computing power than the systems that guided astronauts to the moon, yet it costs only a fraction of what those early computers did. Moore's Law helped make modern technology possible. Unfortunately, Moore's Law also accelerated the cycle of upgrades, replacements, and the expectation that every device would soon be replaced by something newer. To be fair, not everything about modern technology is bad. In many ways, we are carrying miracles around in our pockets. My cell phone is a television, a radio, a GPS, a camera, a video recorder, a music library, a calculator, a flashlight, and a gateway to nearly all of human knowledge. At the touch of a finger, I can watch a movie, listen to thousands of songs, navigate across the continent, or learn almost anything ever published on the internet. If you're old enough to remember life before smartphones, think about how much money you once spent on a television, cable service, a stereo, a record player, a camera, a camcorder, maps, a GPS, an encyclopedia, and a computer. Today, all of those devices fit into your pocket. The technology itself is remarkable. The problem is that the true cost has become difficult to calculate. You buy the phone, or perhaps it is buried inside your monthly bill. Then come the subscriptions, the apps, the streaming services, the cloud storage, the upgrades, and the data collection. Along for the ride are advertisers from Madison Avenue, investors from Wall Street, data brokers, and algorithms all competing for your attention and your wallet. The smartphone may be one of mankind's greatest inventions, but it has also become one of history's most efficient delivery systems for extracting money, information, and attention from its owner. That is the beauty of subscriptions from a company's perspective. The original sale generates revenue once. The subscription generates revenue forever. Somewhere along the way, businesses discovered that selling a product was good, but renting access to that same product was even better. Customers became recurring revenue streams. Of course, businesses need profits, innovation costs money, engineers deserve paychecks, new products often bring real improvements. The problem arises when profit becomes the sole objective and the customer becomes something to be harvested rather than served. That is when trust begins to disappear, and trust, once lost, is very difficult to recover. The internet was once supposed to make information easier to find. In many ways, it did. Unfortunately, it also taught publishers that attention could be converted directly into money. Every second you spend on a website has value. The longer you remain on the page, the more advertisements they can display, the more data they can collect, and the greater the chance you'll click on another article before leaving. This gave birth to clickbait, headlines designed not necessarily to inform but to lure. "You won't believe what happened next" became a business model. The article promises the answer in the headline, hints at it in the first paragraph, teases it in the second, and finally delivers it somewhere around paragraph 5, 6, or 7 after you've scrolled past advertisements, pop-up videos, subscription requests, cookie notices, and links to other stories. Publishers call it engagement. Marketing departments call it monetization. Wall Street calls it revenue. The reader calls it annoying. Like so many examples of enshittification, the goal is no longer to get information to the customer as efficiently as possible. So the question becomes, are we really getting the better end of the deal, or are these companies getting everything they can from us? So what do we do about it? First, we recognize the game. We become more deliberate consumers. We repair what can be repaired. We avoid unnecessary subscriptions. We support companies that stand behind their products. We buy durable goods when possible. We learn practical skills. We resist the temptation to replace something simply because advertising tells us we should. We reward businesses that value long-term relationships over short-term extraction. The old television repairmen understood something we've forgotten. A good product should serve its owner for as long as possible, not until the next quarterly earnings report. Perhaps the real cure for enshittification isn't found in technology, government regulation, or corporate policy. Perhaps it begins when enough consumers decide they are tired of being pickpocketed and start rewarding companies that build things to last. Until then, we'll keep paying more, owning less, and being told it's progress. If you have a story about something you have noticed, please share so we all can learn. Thank you. Jim D. Jones.